Hi, my name is Konstantin Baum. I'm a master of wine, and today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about one of the greatest wines coming out of the Champagne region, and we're also going to taste the wine, the Louis Roederer Cristal. The company was initially founded as Dubois Père et Fils in 1776, but Louis Roederer inherited the estate from his uncle in 1832, and as he was a man with great ambition, he decided to name it after himself in 1833. Louis Roederer also decided to buy more vineyards when he took over the winery, and it's thanks to this strategy that Louis Roederer Winery today is one of the biggest landholders in Champagne. The winery also went after the export markets as Champagne became more and more popular. They started exporting wine to the US in the 1870s and were also very successful at the Imperial Court of Russia. For Alexander II, they actually developed a special Cuvée, which is now considered the first prestige Cuvée of its kind in 1876, the Cristal. The Cristal bottle still pays homage to this history. The Tsar was scared to be assassinated, and he therefore asked for the bottle to be clear so that he could see the liquid inside the bottle. He also asked for a flat bottom bottle because he was scared that someone could plant a bomb into the bottom of the bottle. If this sounds paranoid to you, then you clearly don't know about the fate of Tsar Alexander II. He was killed by a bomb after a number of failed assassination attempts, and he bled to death with his legs torn off, his stomach ripped open, and his face mutilated. The bottle was made by a Flemish glassmaker who used lead glass, which was also known as crystal, hence the name. Even though the bottle looks similar today, the wine tastes very different. Back then, Cristal probably had 100 grams per liter of residual sugar and tasted very sweet. Even though it was already famous, Cristal was not commercially available until 1945 when it was released to the broader market. By the way, the yellow wrap, which is iconic today, wasn't there in the beginning. It was only added later to protect the wine inside the clear bottle from UV rays that would change the smell and the taste of the wine. Today, Louis Roederer is still family owned, which is increasingly rare amongst bigger producers of Champagne. They also own Château de Pesse and Château Pichon Comtesse de Lalande in Bordeaux. They own Roederer Estate in California, Champagne Deutz and Domaine Ott in Provence, among other wineries. If you liked this video so far, then please give me a like. It would really help me out, and it only takes a second. Really special about Roederer is that they own 240 hectares of vineyards in Champagne, which supply roughly 70% of the total fruit that they need for their wines. This is special because 1 hectare of vineyards in Champagne can easily cost €1 million if you find anyone who wants to sell it to you. Owning all this land really helps them control the quality of the fruit that they get. Roughly half of their vineyards are now certified organic, and the other half is in the process of being certified. They also do some biodynamics in some of their vineyards, and this was a big step for them that involved quite a lot of risk. When they first started tilling the soils and stopped using herbicides in the vineyards, the yields dropped by 30%, which is insane. I think none other than a family business with a very long-term perspective on what they do is able to take a step like this. If you have a company that has shareholders, you probably won't be able to do that. For the Cristal, they use grapes from 45 different parcels, and they pick the best ones every vintage. The blend for the 2012 vintage was 60% Pinot Noir and 40% Chardonnay. And the wines generally don't undergo malolactic conversion. The only exception was in 1988, and some of the 2008 base wine also didn't undergo malolactic conversion. Not having malolactic conversion means that the wines taste fresher and more lively. When it comes to winemaking for Cristal, sometimes the base wine was aged in oak and sometimes the base wine wasn't aged in oak. The 2012 was aged in oak. 32% of the wine spent some time in 95 hectoliter oak casks. And the dosage of the wine is 7.5 grams per liter. So let's talk about the vintage 2012. Jean-Baptiste, the chef de cave at Louis Roederer, said it is a great vintage, probably better than 1996 and close to 1990 on average, but in some special locations it could well be better than that, closer to a 1947. This sounds pretty good, but the vintage wasn't easy. Yields were actually pretty low because of frost, hail and disease early in the season, but in August things turned around dramatically and they were able to harvest really great fruit. At Louis Roederer, they were actually harvesting the first organically certified grapes in 2012. My motto, stack rocks like Colorado, author of the Champagne Crystal by the bottle. In the 1990s and early 2000s, Cristal actually became a symbol in hip-hop culture for success and was mentioned in lyrics by Jay-Z, Tupac and the Notorious B.I.G. Tupac actually created a Cristal cocktail and named it Dirk Passion, which was a blend of Cristal and Alizé Gold Passion. If you don't know what that is, it's a blend of vodka, cognac and passion fruit. Blech. The falling out happened when in 2006 the CEO of Louis Roederer said in an interview that he views the association between hip-hop and Cristal with curiosity and serenity, and he also said, "What can we do? We cannot forbid people from buying it." Jay-Z thought those comments were racist and decided that he's not going to sell Cristal in his clubs and stop buying the stuff for himself. I don't know whether the outrage was justified, but the comments certainly had a big impact on the market for Cristal. For one, there are far less references to Cristal in rap lyrics today, and that's for sure. But also Jay-Z bought his own champagne label, Amand de Brignac, which became very successful, and just recently sold a 50% share of that company to Roederer's biggest competitor, the Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy Group. So now you want to know how much this bottle of champagne cost. I went on Wine Searcher and checked, and the average price is $280, which is a lot of money. And you might now wonder, why is this wine so expensive? And Louis Roederer would probably say, well, it costs a lot of money to make a wine like this. You have very low yields and it's very labor intensive and the wine spends a lot of time in bottle. But the true answer is because the market is prepared to pay this much money for this bottle of wine. It's a luxury product and people are ready to pay a lot of money for an experience as great as Louis Roederer's Cristal promises. For now I've talked enough, it's time to taste the stuff. I'm using my big Riedel champagne glass, which is definitely a glass that you should use, a bigger glass for great champagne like this. I always thought that the design of the Roederer Cristal bottle is a bit strange, it's quite flashy, but the wine is a real classic, so let's taste it. This is beautiful. It smells of ripe peaches, lemon tart, hazelnuts and brioche. It's very complex, very rich and welcoming. Yeah, on the palate it really grips you. It has a lot of power, but it has so much freshness and liveliness, and it really, it changes your palate. It's beautiful, beautiful. I think I need to eat something now with this wine. What could I eat? So with this super famous champagne, I decided to eat something very simple. Great piece of cheese. So very often people think that if they have a great wine, they need a great, very complex meal to go with it. I don't agree with that. In this case, I really wanted to have something very simple but high quality with this beautiful champagne. The theory is this cheese is creamy, rich and beautiful, and the piercing fresh acidity of the champagne will kind of make the cheese more lively and more exciting. So let's try it. This is very good cheese. It's an excellent Chaours, which is a beautiful cheese in general, and this is a very good one. Very nice. The wine actually gives the cheese a lot more freshness and liveliness and goes really well with this cheese. I think the Cristal is maybe a little bit too fine and too elegant because the cheese has a bit more aroma than I thought it would. But yeah, it's a good combo. It's a good combo. So last but not least, I have to give this wine a score. The 2012 Cristal is actually one of the highest rated champagnes of all time. Vinnes gave it 98 points and Robert Parker gave it 97 plus. I think this is a near perfect champagne. It's just beautiful. It has everything it needs and even more. So I would give this wine 98 points. Well done. So thank you for watching. If you liked this video, then please like it down here. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. There are more and more exciting videos coming up, so stay tuned. My question of the day is, have you ever tasted Cristal? Comment down below. I would be interested in hearing which vintages you've tasted. I hope I see you guys again soon. Until then, stay thirsty.